Good morning, you're watching Breakfast with Bill Turnbull and Susanna Reid.
Our main news this morning, the Jimmy Savile sex abuse scandals raising very real concerns about public trust in the BBC, according to the government's culture secretary, Maria Miller.
In an exchange of...
But a few minutes ago, on Breakfast, the former BBC chairman, Sir Christopher Bland, told us he believes public trust in the corporation will remain intact.
Food labelling is to be made consistent across all supermarkets so that shoppers can more easily spot the healthiest option.
Cabinet sources have categorically denied that the government's considering introducing a draft bill to give prisoners the vote.
The owner of Argos and Homebase has announced a 37% drop in profits to £18 million for the first 6 months of the year.
The analogue TV signal in Northern Ireland has been switched off, thus completing the UK's transition to digital broadcasting.
And James Bond's return to the big screen has been given the royal seal of approval. And the job of the United Nations Secretary-General Ban Ki-moon usually revolves around issues of conflict resolution and peacekeeping.
But I think he could have given it a bit more.
You think?
Yeah, he's got to...
You wanted the legs, the whole body?
Yeah, the whole thing.
Here's what's coming up on Breakfast this morning. Comedian...
Yes. Do you know what? You know how we like to have some little arguments with Sally sometimes about facts and figures in sport? Not now.
Really?
She's got a very big... Now, there aren't many people who could handle appearing on stage, writing a book, scripting a West End play and making a new TV show all at the same time.
There is somebody, though, actor, broadcaster, writer, playwright, Sandy Toksvig, doing it all and rather well lately.
At the moment, she's sparring with a heavyweight boxer there, but she'll be with us in a second. Before we chat, here's a look at her on QI. And she's here. Well, gosh, good morning.
Good morning.
Thanks so much for finding the time.
No, I haven't. The last time I saw you, we were in a cafe in London. That's the last time I bumped into you. Yes. It's very nice to see you.
What were you having?
Coffee. It's very, very abstemious boy.
Just coffee.
Trying to maintain a low profile that particular day.
Can I just say, I could have taken that heavyweight guy. I could have.
People ask very regularly. There are things that people always want to know. Yeah. So there's probably 10 or 15 questions that you're always going to have imagined. And you're about to do another television show about questions you should know the answers to.
Yes.
It's about the Boer War.
Yeah.
And the reason that she is out fighting the Boer War is because she is taking the place.
She takes the
tackling not just the controversy over the actions of the British Army in the Boer War, and as you know, and the way that homosexuality was dealt with in touch. There's so many things we've got to come to.
No, but she glides, she knows, she's well trained, she just glides from one into the other.
Do you know what it is? I'm so passionate about all these things. I feel there's so many things that want to be
play
said.
very quickly.
Sometimes very creative people get up ridiculously early in order to get some work done. What time do you wake up in the morning to as well, Sandy? Thank you very much indeed. I feel exhausted, you see.
Sandy's playing.
I don't feel I've done enough this morning.
Until Saturday. We'll write some short stories later just to make ourselves feel better.
That'd be a nice idea, wouldn't it? Yeah.
All right.
Now, the Royal British Legion's Poppy Appeal is being launched today with the hope that it can beat its previous fundraising record.
Yeah, which is pretty significant. It wants to raise £42 million to help support servicemen and women returning from Afghanistan or people who've served in previous conflicts.
Graham Satchell has been to meet one family who say their lives have been changed by the help they've been given. Well, we're joined by Claire Thornburg. We're going to talk to Kate Moss in just a moment. First, so let's get a weather forecast with Alex.
Alex, thank you very much.
Now, the life of an author may seem attractive to many of us. You can choose where you work, no hurry to get up in the morning.
Do as much or as little as you like.
Yeah.
But Kate Moss will tell you it really is not that easy. She's described the process of writing her latest novel as a long and intense ride which took her 5 whole years.
5 years.
And she jumped hundreds of pages of
it. Yes, it's a real winter night book, you know, keep you going through the whole of the winter.
It is Citadel, of course,
yes,
which is the third in a trilogy which began with a novel, Labyrinth. Not your first novel, but the first novel set in this beautiful part of France, Languedoc, Carcassonne. And Labyrinth you wrote, and it became a huge international
I know who would have
bestseller.
thought it.
Obviously because the treatment of women and how women are represented is a theme that's run through a lot of interviews this morning.
Yes, absolutely.
And
even the boxing.
Well, of course, you know, women in boxing made history this
absolutely.
year. But women in boxing made history this
absolutely.
year. But you are also one of the co-founders of what is now known as, previously known as, the Orange Prize. Now, this is a prize, of course, given only to women for the best book written in English. how are you going to make sure that it's not always called the Women's Prize for Fiction, but has a sponsor's name next to it? Lovely to see you. Thank you very much indeed. And Citadel is out. Brilliant.
Thanks very much. We're going to speak to the Genesis guitarist Steve Hackett in a moment. He's also bringing his guitar. First, though, a last quick look at what's happening where you are.
See you in a moment. Welcome back. If you were looking for a band to fill a stadium 30 more years ago, you needn't have looked further than Genesis.
In the 70s and 80s, they came up with some big songs, and there were some big names in the band. One of them was guitarist Steve Hackett. We'll speak to him in a moment. You were.
Nylon strings, Spanish influence.
Yeah.
Yes, which is all just one small part of the Genesis sort of repertoire spread, if you like, because Genesis was so many different types of music.
Yes.
What are you going to... Because, as you say, there's a kind of Spanish guitar. It's
At
sort of
times.
feeling.
Say, oh, if only.
Yes.
Does he owe you? He owes you.
Oh, I don't know. No, I don't think so. No, he was a guy who got me the gig in Genesis. He was the guy who phoned me up. So I think I owe everything to him, actually.
So when you say it has been discussed, has it been
Yes.
discussed with each individual member?
Well, it has, but then there's the old retiree, so I think it's probably not necessarily gonna.
Two is out now. You can catch him, as Bill
When
said.
I saw Genesis back in 1972, the whole band cost 90 quid to hire. Those were the days.
It's a bit more than that. Time for this morning.
Jerry Marsden from Jerry and the Pacemakers will be here tomorrow, along with the American crime author
Patricia Cornwell.
That's who she is.
Join Charlie and Louise from 6 tomorrow. Have a good day.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.